Welcome to our news update. Today we have some interesting stories to share with you. First up,
Shell has been accused of profiteering after reporting record first quarter profits of $9.6 billion. Moving on.
Russia has accused the U.S. of being behind a drone attack on the Kremlin, which the U.S. has denied. In other news,
Russians have been found storing explosives at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, according to the state Nuclear Regulatory Inspectorate.
Serbia has tightened gun control laws following a deadly school shooting. Meanwhile,
Swiss lawmakers have agreed to ban bonuses at too-big-to-fail banks. Finally,
U.S. Special Forces have simulated a Taiwan defense against China for the first time. Exciting stuff, let's get started.
Shell has been accused of profiteering bonanza after reporting record first quarter profits of over $9.6 billion, despite falling oil and gas prices.
The profits exceeded industry analyst predictions and Shell's previous first quarter record set last year.
The company handed shareholders $6 billion, including $2 billion in dividend payments and $4.3 billion in share buybacks over the last quarter.
Shell's energy trading teams helped mitigate against falling prices, contributing to the increase in profits despite higher taxes and lower market prices.
The UK government's windfall energy profits levy increased Shell's tax bill to $134 million last year, and the company expects to pay over $500 million this year. Shell's new CEO, Wael Sawan, said the company delivered strong results and robust operational performance, and is preparing to lead a capital markets day next month to set out an updated strategy for the company. Well, from one accusation to another, it seems like everyone is pointing fingers these days. First, Shell is accused of profiteering, and now Russia is accusing the U.S. of drone attacks. Who's next? The Easter Bunny. Russia has accused the United States of being behind a drone attack on Moscow's Kremlin citadel, intended to kill President Vladimir Putin. The Kremlin administration shifted the focus onto the United States a day after blaming Ukraine for the attack, but without providing evidence. The White House rejected the charge, and Ukraine has also denied involvement in the incident.
Security experts have deemed the incident implausible as an assassination attempt.
The incident occurred 6 days before Russia's Victory Day celebrations, marking the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II.
Putin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, said Russia reserves the right to retaliate and that an urgent investigation is underway. Well, it looks like Russia is really taking their conspiracy theories to new heights, or should I say, new drones. Speaking of things that shouldn't be stored together, the State Nuclear Regulatory Inspectorate has some explosive news about the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant.
Russian invaders have stored military equipment and explosives in the turbine compartment of Power Unit No. 4 at the Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant, ZNPP, according to the State Nuclear Regulatory Inspectorate of Ukraine.
The report was made following a weekly meeting with International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, representatives on the 2nd of May.
The inspectorate emphasized that such actions by the invaders are highly detrimental to the nuclear and radiation safety of the nuclear installations on the ZNPP's industrial site.
The storage of military equipment and explosives endangers both the nuclear power plant's personnel and the residents of nearby towns and villages. The inspectorate called on the international community to put pressure on the aggressor, particularly by imposing tough sanctions on enterprises in the Russian nuclear industry and their affiliates. This is not the first time that Russian troops have stored military equipment and explosives at the ZNPP, with similar reports emerging in July and August 2022.
Well, it seems like the Russians are really trying to blow things up these days. But don't worry, Serbia is taking a shot at tightening gun control.
Serbia's Interior Ministry has warned gun owners to keep their weapons empty and locked in gun cabinets or safes following a school shooting in Belgrade that left 9 people dead.
The warning is part of a host of gun control measures announced by President Aleksandar Vučić after the shooting. Police will conduct spot checks at registered gun owners' homes to ensure they keep weapons safe, and those who are found to be negligent could be charged. The suspected teenage shooter had visited shooting ranges with his father and used his pistols in the attack, police said.
The boy was admitted to a psychiatric institution for an evaluation, and a toxicology test returned negative, authorities said on Thursday. Under Serbian law, he is too young to be held criminally liable. A 3-day mourning period to remember the victims will begin Friday morning.
From guns to banks, it seems like we're all about tightening the screws on things that are too big to handle. Let's hope the bankers don't start shooting themselves in the foot.
The Swiss House of Representatives has passed a bill to ban systemically relevant banks from paying some bonuses and limit payouts for top executives and risk managers. The proposal from the Social Democrats was supported by 101 lawmakers, with 70 against, and now goes to the Senate for approval.
The move comes after Switzerland weathered a crisis that forced the fusion of its 2 biggest financial institutions, Credit Suisse and UBS Group AG. The implicit state guarantee received by large banks means that any risk such institutions take ultimately falls to taxpayers. said Priska Birahamo of the Social Democrats.
The government is also considering legal options to limit big bank bonuses, making the bill surpassed by recent events, according to Finance Minister Karen Keller-Sutter.
Other institutions designated as systemically important by the Swiss National Bank are Raiffeisen Group, Zürcher Kantonalbank, and Postfinance. From Swiss banks to Taiwan Defense, it seems like we're all just trying to avoid getting bankrupt in one way or another. Speaking of defense, let's see how the U.S. Special Forces are preparing for a potential showdown with China. The U.S. Special Operations Command, USASOC, has conducted its first simulation of Taiwan's defense against a potential Chinese invasion.
The training was part of this year's capabilities exercise, which included USASOC's simulated insertion into Taipei to defend against Beijing's forces. American forces landed several CH-47 Chinook helicopters on a concrete structure that resembled a potential landing zone on the island nation. Soldiers then infiltrated the area and fired Carl Gustaf recoilless rifles, simulating tactics employed during the global war on terror.
Additionally, the troops practiced capture evasion, responded to information warfare, and addressed gray zone tactics employed by China.
The USASOC's simulation comes as China ramps up its military activities around the self-governing nation, and American forces must be much more prepared.